Hi, and welcome to my channel Happy Learning with Anugamini. This is Dr. Anugamini Srivastav, and here I am with my next round of videos for researchers and in research. In most of my videos, I emphasized on having well-written research questions, research gaps, and research objectives. Now the problem comes in that how we can be so sure that we have a well-written, well-structured, simply defined, clearly defined, precisely defined research questions. Yes, this is a big question and we cannot just ignore it. So here are some tips how you can define research questions and how you can be so sure that your research question is first needed in the area, second will lead to some positive direction, and third will enable you to have good publications. So researchers, let's start. Basically, research questions are the innovative questions that pave the way for your research work. So, research questions are the first thing that should be defined in the best possible manner to lead your research work. With this, I meant to say that your research question is. So, based on this definition, we can say that our research questions are all those innovative questions that pops up in our mind to define something, contradict some theories, assumptions, traditions, customs, beliefs, or support some research work, literature work, empirical results, findings, and so on. So, all those innovative questions that comes up in your mind based on your understanding, observation, and your viewpoint, assumptions, beliefs, customs, values, all those questions can be your research questions. Now, what exactly we need to do to define it pretty well? Yes, at times we get a number of research questions in our mind. But for a particular research paper, doctoral thesis, particular project, we need to narrow it down to some little points. But how to define that? How we can restrict us to some limited research questions that can define the way of a research work, how it will be in the future. So, here are some of my tips. The first thing is the confusion spotting. Yes, most of the researchers are confused about what to do, how to do, and when to do. But there are some researchers who are very much clear about what they are doing and why they are doing and how they did it. So, as a new researcher in the field, or as you may be the existing researcher but in a way to explore new topics and new research questions, so here you can first of all identify where people are confused about. The confusion can be about the opinions, can be about the viewpoints, the justification provided for some theories, or some enhancement of the theories, some subtraction in the theories, some contradiction in the theories, results, empirical results, qualitative results, model development, and so on. So you are supposed to identify where researchers are competing with each other, where exactly they are confused about the final outcomes, where exactly they are continuously giving mixed opinions, and hence that can be your way towards doing your research work. So the first point towards defining your research question is the confusion spotting. Now the second point. The second point is the neglect spotting. Now under the neglect spotting, you are supposed to identify where things in research, which points in research, which results in research, which models in research, which pathways in the research are being either neglected or not being done in the field. So there are three options. First is under researched. So you are supposed to identify from the limitations of different studies published in the area what are the things that has not been done. So that can be your area through the neglect spotting, research question identification. Second thing can be the overlooked area. There might be some topics in your research work which are continuously being done and analyzed by the researchers, but still there are some overlooked perspective towards those concepts that can be your neglect spotting and through which you can continue further. And finally, there might be some topics, some conceptualizations, some theories which are present in theoretical terms only but require some empirical testing, and hence that can be your neglect spotting. So, and it can be the vice versa also. There can be some empirical testing continuously done on different models and different variables and different constructs, but still there are options to develop more conceptual models on those variables, and hence that can be a neglected spotting. So either ways you can go ahead and define where are the points where people are, or where researchers in the field are neglecting it. At the same time, you can also look at from the multidisciplinary perspective to identify which perspective or which approach or which aspect is being neglected. And finally, the application spotting. Yes, in few of my videos I also emphasized on how there are some theories existing but their applications are not done properly, and hence even though good research are existing in the area, we are not able to understand how we can actually implement those theories and empirical tested models. So you can start with some innovative ideas how you can actually suggest some practical ways on applying the theoretical understanding of different models and theories. So either you can, in this manner, you can either contradict some theories in practical scenarios that it is not possible to implement in practical scenarios, or even though there are statistical results exist or conceptual relationship exists between them, but still in practical scenarios things are pretty different from them and we need to explore more intervening variables among the model. Or at the same time you can provide some practical suggestions regarding training, counseling, which can lead you to define how you can actually implement some behavioral approaches, conceptual approaches, technical approaches in practical scenarios, right? You can do that. So through all this spotting, you can actually identify your research question and define it in the best possible manner. Now in research papers, basically this definition of research questions are quite neglected at the very common base. Why? Because people are more emphasizing on research gaps and research hypotheses. But let me tell you, research questions are the basis for your whole research work, and when you are pretty clear about this research questions, your direction towards writing your research papers, your doctoral dissertations, projects and research proposals will be quite concrete and very much specific. So think about your research questions through different spotting. You can also mix and match spottings to bring out something new in the area. I hope my content on defining research questions and identifying research questions will help you. If you find the content of my video relevant to you, do consider subscribing to my channel and like my video. At the same time, because I'm going to make continuous series of videos on identifying, or you may say the steps to identify research objectives, gaps, questions, hypotheses, propositions, do consider sharing my videos to all those whom you believe will be helped in some manner. So goodbye for now. We'll meet in the next video.